for some time. Oh, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, Dhyana Yoga. We'll chant from verse number 40 to 41. 41 to 47.
समाः शुचीनां श्रीमतां गेहे योगभ्रष्टोऽभिजायते अथवा योगिनामेव कुले भवति धीमताम् एतद्धि दुर्लभतरम् लोके जन्म यदीदृशम् तत्र तं बुद्धिसंयोगम् लभते पौर्वदेहिकम् यतते च ततो भूयः संसिद्धौ कुरु नन्दन पूर्वाभ्यासेन तेनैव ह्रियते ह्यवशोऽपि सः जिज्ञासुरपि योगस्य शब्दब्रह्माति वर्तते प्रयत्नाद्यतमानस्तु योगी संशुद्धकिल्बिषः अनेकजन्म संसिद्धः ततो याति परां गतिम् तपस्विभ्योऽधिको योगी ज्ञानिभ्योऽपि मतोऽधिकः कर्मिभ्यश्चाधिको योगी तस्माद्योगी भवार्जुन योगिनामपि सर्वेषाम् मद्गतेनान्तरात्मना श्रद्धावान् भजते यो माम् समे युक्ततमो मतः.
Last week we did verse number 43, right?
Yes, Amiji.
So just to understand the thought flow, verse number 37 to 39 is Arjuna's question. He's asking what happens to a sincere seeker who does not reach the state of enlightenment. which is the goal of any spiritual practice? It's a very legitimate, innocuous question. So from verse number 40 onwards, like step by step, Krishna is answering that question. It was number 45 and 46, 47 is the concluding advice that this is what you should do to evolve spiritually and ultimately to gain enlightenment. So in verse number 40, he says there is neither destruction nor sorrow for a person who is righteous, meaning who follows this knowledge, whose life is based on the higher values of life. Because your mind will not overpower your intellect. So that's what we mean by destruction. I mean, you could get into serious trouble. And when your intellect is sufficiently developed to manage your mind, your desires are under control. So therefore, you will not experience sorrow. You experience sorrow because of unfulfilled desires, because of your lack of self-sufficiency. You are dependent on the world for your happiness. In that sense, he's saying, there is neither destruction nor sorrow for a sincere seeker now and in future. The bottom line of any spiritual practice, that is Arjuna's question, when you put efforts, the whole thing is cause and effect. So if you sow the right cause, you get that effect, you get the benefit now and in future. So therefore, there is neither destruction nor sorrow for a sincere seeker. And then in verse number 41, he says, like, if your effort is really going in the right direction, first of all, you enjoy life because you are happy. And you are born in the home of pure and wealthy. So purity and wealth, they rarely coexist. Where there is wealth, you find most of the times there is decay because hardly anyone knows how to relate to wealth. But where there is wealth plus there is purity is rare. It's a right environment for spiritual evolution because you don't have to worry about your basics. Your physical needs, your material needs are well taken care of. So he gives that support or rather assurance to all of us. If you are sincere, don't worry about your worldly comforts. They will be taken care of. And 42, he says, if your effort is really pronounced, if you have that fixation, then such a seeker is born into a family of wise yogis only. A birth such as this is very difficult to obtain. So you are placed or you're born, it is one and the same thing. You don't have to worry about unknown future. Even now it is applicable. So I think last week we discussed enough examples. So if your effort is really pronounced, if you're really sincere, you will find yourself in a company, in an environment where everybody around you is focused on self-improvement. Opposite of this is if you have worldly vasanas, sensual vasanas, you will find yourself in the company of people who are worldly, who are sensual. So positively as well as negatively, it applies. And verse number 43, that's where we concluded last week. He says, in that environment, conducive environment, when you are born there or when you are placed there, I think you place yourself in that conducive environment. So what happens? There, united, tatra means there, in that environment, united with the knowledge acquired in his former body, he strives more than before for perfection. So in that conducive environment, your growth is really fast because your personality has already got the lift. I think I gave example of that street sport in India. All these kids play gulli danda, that stick, with two sticks they play, or like a plane taking off. Once you go at a height of 35, 40,000 feet, you soar, but that initial takeoff is difficult. So due to your own efforts, you find yourself in that particular environment, and there your growth is very, very fast because there are no opposing forces. Everything is very conducive, isn't it? So what you learn as a seeker is you create your environment. You can take your present life, your present situation as a reference. Nobody has forced you in this classroom today, isn't it? It's a spiritually charged environment where everybody is a seeker. So how do you find yourself in this environment? Why are you in this environment, in a conducive environment? Can anybody answer that question?
Feel at peace and contented.
Sorry?
Feel at peace.
No, that's not a question. My question
Calm.
is why? Why are
Calm.
you in this environment?
From our
Because,
previous works in
yeah,
the past life.
our own efforts.
Your own efforts. Past life also is correct, but I'm trying to give you example which you and I can relate to.
Right.
You put efforts. This morning you got up. You had a choice. Saturday, either you can go somewhere, play cards with your friends, or go for a walk, or go wherever. I'm not saying in the negative sense. Or you had a choice that let me attend this Vedanta class. So therefore, due to your own efforts, you are in this environment right now. Now you can take this as a reference and try to understand these verses. So are we okay? Verse number 44, please.
पूर्वाभ्यासेन तेनैव ह्रियते ह्यवशोऽपि सः जिज्ञासुरपि योगस्य शब्दब्रह्माति वर्तते पूर्वाभ्यासेन तेनैव ह्रियते ह्यवशोऽपि सः जिज्ञासुरपि योगस्य शब्दब्रह्माति वर्तते.
By that former practice alone, Purvabhyasena, it's a very interesting construction. Purvabhyasena, he is born irresistibly. Even wishing to know yoga, he goes beyond Shabda Brahman, word Brahman, meaning supreme reality. Now, why are you placed in a conducive environment? So the thought flow continues. Because of Purvabhyasena, meaning it is the effect of your former spiritual practices. It is due to your own efforts which you have put in the past from this moment backwards. So it is applicable within this lifetime, and also it is applicable to previous lives. But if you take your present life as a reference, it becomes very easy. So due to your efforts in the past, due to the effect of your former spiritual practices, which is referred to as Purva Abhyasena, you get a head start because your present environment is very conducive. And as it is, you have evolved to a great extent. So you get a head start. Everything is so conducive for your growth. And he's dramatizing. So what happens when you are placed in that environment? There is no baggage to drag you down. By baggage, I mean baggage of desires, attachment, and possessiveness. Mere determination is enough to go beyond Shabda Brahman, word Brahman. Brahman is supreme reality. So what is telling us, even if you just wish that I need self-enlightenment, I need to get there, that thought itself is enough to get you to that state. Why? Because you have already put the efforts. 99.99% hard work has been done. The last 0.1% is nothing but a formality. He is dramatizing it, but also it is true. When I came to America long 10, 12 years back, so one family hosted me, very highly educated people, and all their friends were like highly educated. Went to top engineering schools in India. They came to America, did their PhD from Ivy League schools, and 99% of them were from like average background. So due to their own hard work, they did exceedingly well. So the children also were like that. I didn't see any exception. Highly motivated, very good in their studies. One particular family, I'm giving example in the context. So that boy, he gave after 12th grade, which exam you give if you want an admission in engineering colleges?
SAT test.
Yeah, I think it's SAT. So he got admission in all, I think 7 or 8 or maybe 9 Ivy League schools of America. Harvard, Yale, Stanford, I mean, it was like a buffet. And he finally selected whatever he selected. So what I'm trying to tell, even when it comes to like scholastic education, it is applicable. Literally, he had to select. He just wished, okay, I want admission in that particular like, top school. And they said, okay, yes, why not? But it is due to what? Purvabhyasena. It is due to his own efforts in the past. He has reached that state. So that's the caliber of a true seeker. And the same thing is applicable to you even now. So again, these examples, they are limited. Don't take them literally. I'm trying to convey the message. So I always keep on saying that we do these 2 retreats in India for sincere seekers, those who attend study classes and e-learners. They are different from what we do locally. So there are there are 35 people who have registered from from New York, New Jersey, and Detroit. And I know some of them, they really had to shuffle their work schedule and all that. But that desire to be near a master was so strong that they just wished, yes, I want to go there. And they booked their ticket and they are finding themselves there. I hope I'm able to convey what I'm trying to say. See, that doesn't mean those who are not going, they don't have that determination. That's not a point. But that mere determination to go there was enough. It happened. See, as opposed to, oh, I have this engagement, I have this, I have that. I mean, it is never going to happen. So even now it is applicable. So these concepts, they are not theoretical concepts. depends on what is your priority in life. If you have priority for that particular experience, we are talking about spiritual evolution. And if you really want to take it to the next level, there is nobody which is preventing you from doing that. The only impediment could be what? If at all there is an impediment, what could be that impediment? Why can't you say that mere determination to get there, I will get there? I'm trying to explain the concept from a practical point of view. Otherwise, somebody may say, yes, I wish, I want self-realization. It's not going to happen. So how it is applicable to you and I is my point.
See, the impediment could be just yourself.
Your own desires is your own impediment. If you have that strong determination, all other desires, they will fall out. Therefore, it's a very practical verse, practical concept. And when he says mere determination is enough to go beyond Shabda Brahman, word Brahman, meaning supreme reality. Brahman is supreme reality. Now, there are 2 or 3 main points as far as Shabda Brahman, word Brahman is concerned. Now, Brahman means supreme reality. So that mere determination is enough to get to the state of self-realization. That is number 1. Meaning he becomes supreme reality. He becomes Brahman. It's like dreamer becoming a waker. See, as far as you and I are concerned, supreme reality is just a word, just a concept. We don't know what it is because body, mind, intellect cannot contact supreme reality. It is not objective comprehension. With body, you cannot understand what is supreme reality. Your senses can't contact it. Emotionally, you cannot feel supreme reality. Intellectually, you cannot understand supreme reality. So though we are studying, that's our ultimate aim, but we don't know what it is. It is just a word, it is just a symbol, it's just a concept. But a sincere seeker, he transcends body, mind, intellect, and he becomes that supreme reality. So what he is talking about is subjective apprehension, meaning he experiences supreme reality. He becomes supreme reality. He goes beyond the concept of supreme reality. That is number 1. Also, Shabda Brahman can be taken as an idol. Every seeker needs an idol, at least in the initial stage. And idol represents the ideal. Idol could be gross, idol could be subtle. For example, Murti in the temple, the stone image, is an idol. It's an example of gross idol. Or a cross in a church or an altar in a church. It is an idol, it's a gross idol. But it represents the ideal. Idol is not the ideal. So you may choose gross idol, like a stone image, or in meditation, you chant Om. It is still an idol. Om is not supreme reality. Om represents supreme reality. So a spiritual initiate finds it useful to have an idol, gross idol. But as you advance spiritually, you come to a stage where Om is enough. Om is a very subtle idol. And Om represents the supreme reality. But finally, eventually, you go beyond Om. That idol, subtle idol, it could be gross or subtle. It takes to the ultimate state of self-realization, which is the ideal. So Shabda Brahman can be taken as you go beyond the idol, you achieve the ideal. And also, Shabda Brahman can be taken as the knowledge of the scriptures. So, right now, we are studying about supreme reality, but we don't know what is supreme reality. So, your efforts, they take you to the ultimate transcendental experience. So, you're not caught up in the spiritual practices. Does it make sense? See, let me repeat. By that former practice alone, by your efforts alone, even wishing to know yoga, he goes beyond Shabda Brahman, word Brahman. So I am trying to explain what that word Brahman, Shabda Brahman means. Brahman means supreme reality. So our aim is to reach that supreme reality. We are studying about supreme reality. So for that, you need spiritual practices. Karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, they are required. But ultimate aim is to go beyond the spiritual practices. Right now, we are studying about supreme reality, about Brahman. We don't know what it is. But he is talking about a seeker who gains that subjective experience of supreme reality. If you find it too complicated, don't worry. As long as you get the message. The simple message is you go beyond the idol. Idol represents the ideal. You become that ideal, you reach that state. Verse number 45.
प्रयत्नाद्यतमानस्तु योगी संशुद्धकिल्बिषः अनेकजन्मसंसिद्धः ततो याति परां गतिम् प्रयत्नाद्यतमानस्तु योगी संशुद्धकिल्बिषः अनेकजन्मसंसिद्धः ततो याति परां गतिम्.
But the yogi striving with assiduity, prayatnat yataman, completely purified of sins, perfected through many births, then reaches the supreme goal. Now, what is telling us when he says prayatnat and yataman? A seeker who is fixated, he has that fixation on the ultimate, and he is consistent in his efforts. Now, such a person, such a seeker, he is purified of all sins. Sins meaning mental agitations, meaning desires. It is unfulfilled desires which produce mental agitations. Desire is a barrier between human being and divinity. So with your own efforts, with your fixation, with consistency in the efforts, you eventually annihilate all your desires. When you annihilate all your desires, you become the supreme reality, you become that divinity. And how has he done that? He has perfected himself through many births. Now, why he is saying many births? Because one has to put tremendous efforts to get the ultimate state. It is no joke. It's like winning an Olympic gold medal. So he is addressing those people who may think, oh, it's no big deal. I mean, 2-3 years or once I am free, I will apply myself and I will gain self-realization. So he's saying, no, it's not that easy, brother. You need to put tremendous efforts. You need to purify your personality every single day. And when you do that, you get that stage, you attain that stage. But for a determined seeker, it does not take time. So he considers present life as the last life. He's not worried about what's going to happen in future. His will is so strong. He says, no, I'm going to put efforts now. So for a determined seeker who has mumukshatva, he does not waste his time. We often use that word mumukshatva, that burning desire to liberate, that burning desire to break free. If somebody pushes your head underwater, even for 10 seconds, what will be your thought? Only one thought. There cannot be two thoughts. Just even for 5 seconds. Sometimes you jump into water, from the diving board. And from a height, especially if you're not used to it, whatever height, there are various levels of boards, 1, 2, 3. So I remember I was in 9th, 10th grade. I jumped from water. I saw my brother jumping from the top board. I jumped. Forever you are inside water. I don't know whether anybody has experienced that. It's something which has to be experienced. So what's the only thought in you that time? Oh my God, I want to come to the surface. That is mumukshatva. You have understood the futility of all worldly pursuits. You may be in the world, you may be doing well, why not? You have understood, it's nothing. Like a dreamer who has understood the futility of the dream world, where he knows he belongs to the waking state. Somebody who has that mumukshatva, he's totally committed to the goal of self-realization. So for such a person, present life is last life. Because he understands that to be born as a human being itself is no joke. How many creatures are there in this world? Trillions and trillions of creatures. From that, handful of creatures are born as you and me, which is human being. To be born as a human being is rare. It's not easy, human birth. Because only human being can attain liberation. No other creature can do that. So he has understood all that due to his purvabhyasena, due to his proper efforts, his own study and reflection. So therefore, he is determined to reach that state. See, Lord Buddha, we can have that quotation, Makaran. It's oft quoted. Rise from dreams and loiter not. Rise from dreams, he says, wake up, loiter not. Don't waste your time. Upanishad, they say, Uddishta, arise, awake. So once it hits you, your spiritual journey starts. If this message does not hit you, if you don't understand, if you don't realize what is your ultimate goal as a human being, your spiritual journey will never start. It will start, but it will be like, there is no real sincerity. That's the difference between a sincere seeker and a casual seeker. It has to hit you. It's like once you understand the importance of being healthy, you will do anything to be healthy, isn't it? But till then, no matter, your doctor may tell you, your friends may tell you, your parents may tell you, everybody may tell you, you are not going to take it, you're going to take it lightly. The moment it hits you, your entire life can be transformed. But what is preventing you from doing that? To some extent, you have understood. Otherwise, why are you here? But why don't you have that mumukshatva? What is the obstacle which is preventing you from developing that mumukshatva, that burning desire? I want to break free. What could be the obstacle?
Our own desires.
Mm-hmm. Do you follow the question? Why that mumukshatva could be lacking in you? Mumukshatva is that burning desire to liberate. What is the obstacle? What are the obstacles? It's not that you don't have it. I mean, to some extent you have it, of course, but not to the extent that I want to get there.
So we are caught up in the lower quality of desires.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. So you're busy playing with the toys. That is all. Just as a child, you can never pull the child out of a toy world. It's impossible. All of your parents, so you know what I am talking. Impossible. Similarly, everybody is playing with the toys. What are the toys with which you are playing? You ask yourself. Name, fame, family, power, money, indulgences. These are the toys with which you are playing. So that prevents you from going to the next level. Yeah, I'm addressing a group of seekers who are sincere. This statement is not applicable to people who are not seekers. Definitely you are sincere, but what prevents you from taking that leap is you're busy playing with the toys. It's a question of more or less. Attached and possessive to all worldly toys. What are these worldly toys in which you are completely caught up? Name, fame, reputation, family, power, indulgences. The moment you understand the futility of all these things with this knowledge, which you already understood to an extent, then only you will go to the next level. So therefore, he says, perfected through many births. Perfected through many births, meaning perfected through many efforts, continuous efforts. What are these efforts? Constantly you need to remind yourself, constantly you need to tell yourself when you find yourself getting sucked into the world. That's the effort you're putting. Is it going to help me to go to the ultimate state? If it is not interfering, then it's okay. It's not that you don't contact the world. It's not that you don't enjoy the world. It doesn't mean that. But if it is going to take me away from my goal, then you say no. You must develop that ability to say no to yourself. There is no such thing as saying no to others. No, this is a barrier. This is a hindrance. This is an obstacle. It's taking me away from my goal. So in scriptures, they dramatize. That Hanuman is known to be said to be the a devotee of Rama, the foremost devotee of Lord Rama. Somebody gave him the pearl necklace, very precious, expensive pearl necklace, and he put that necklace to his ear, and no sound came. Rama, Rama. He said, "Okay, I don't want it. Keep it." It's all story. So any experience which does not take you the ultimate state, which is not useful for your spiritual evolution, which is an obstacle for your spiritual evolution, you need to learn to say no. That's what it means by perfected through many births. Otherwise, I mean, how do you explain this? How do we understand this? You know? That birth meaning experience, meaning efforts. Every unit of effort is important. Every single day you need to put efforts. This is how you perfect yourself. This is how you evolve spiritually. Verse number 46, please.
तपस्विभ्योऽधिको योगी ज्ञानिभ्योऽपि मतोऽधिकः कर्मिभ्यश्चाधिको योगी तस्माद्योगी भवार्जुन तपस्विभ्योऽधिको योगी ज्ञानिभ्योऽपि मतोऽधिकः कर्मिभ्यश्चाधिको योगी तस्माद्योगी भवार्जुन.
The yogi is deemed superior to the ascetics, superior to even the wise, and superior to performers of action. Therefore, be a yogi, O Arjuna. Yogi is superior to karmi, tapasvi, and jnani. See, all this is poetry. It's very simple. Now, 46 and 47 is the concluding advice Krishna is giving to Arjuna, to all of us. So, yogi is a seeker who is seeking union with the Supreme Reality. He has understood the purpose of life and his entire personality is tuned up to achieve that goal. Actions, his emotions, and thoughts. It's just a word. It is derived from the Sanskrit root yuj. We often use this. So yuj means to unite. So a seeker who has understood that he is separated from the Supreme Reality, which is all of us. And he is determined to put efforts to unite with the Supreme Reality. Such a person is called as a yogi, a seeker, a sincere seeker. Now, to reach that state, to reach the state of self-realization, you need spiritual practices. What are the spiritual practices? Karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga. Without these spiritual practices, you can't evolve spiritually. You can't gain enlightenment. But if you get attached to the spiritual practices, you stay put. Spiritual path, spiritual practices, including the knowledge which we are studying, it is only means to an end. So without spiritual path, without spiritual practices of action, emotion, and thought, which is karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, these are the three traditional spiritual practices. You cannot evolve, you cannot gain the ultimate. But if you get attached to the spiritual practices, then you don't progress. You stay put. So when he says yogi is superior to karmi, tapasvi, and jnani, is all used symbolically. Karmi meaning somebody who is involved in karma yoga. There are most people, they are selfish, but there are people who are unselfish. That genuinely they work for a cause in their own profession. Let's say you could be in law, genuinely you want to help your clients. You could be in education, you genuinely think about your students, but they get involved. Though they are unselfish, but they get involved. See, there are a lot of people, I have come across people, some of them, they adopt villages because they came from humble background or whatever it could be. And they want the people back home to be comfortable. They adopt villages. It could be one person, it would be a group of them. or some of them, they are inspired to impart education. They take responsibility of their education, or they may start education institutions. It's a noble work. There is no doubt. But then they get involved in that. Are you understanding what I am trying to say? So that action, unselfish action, no doubt it is meant to purify your personality. Selfish action will pollute your personality, but unselfish action will purify your personality. But if you get attached to that action, unselfish action, you stay put. You build another set of desires, unselfish desires. That's what happens. So karmi is people who get involved in karma yoga. In that sense, he's saying. Tapasvi is seekers who are attached to idols and ritualistic practices. If you need idols, if you need ritualistic practices, there's nothing wrong with that. But they are means to an end. But if you get attached to idols and ritualistic practices, again you stay put, you don't evolve spiritually. Jnani is one who is attached to knowledge. The whole approach to Vedanta could be scholastic. Yes, what we are doing is we are studying here. We are imparting knowledge. It is must. But if you get attached to knowledge, you don't progress. So all these are means. Whether you follow karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, they are means to an end. If you get attached to the means, you don't progress. Bottom line is mind. Mind has a tendency to get attached to anything, isn't it? Mind gets attached to the partner, mind gets attached. Children, mind gets attached to grandchildren, same mind gets attached to power, wealth, everything. Same mind gets attached to spiritual practices if intellect is not developed. So therefore, he is saying, yogi, a true seeker, he is objective. He understands the importance of spiritual practices, but he is not attached to spiritual practices. They are means to an end. And Isavasya Upanishad very powerfully pronounces this truth. Isavasya Upanishad, Mantra 9. We are planning to take that Upanishad in the summer. That's what I was discussing with Radha, with you only, right? A few weeks back. Amazing. So very short Upanishad, I think 18 mantras. So hopefully we should be able to study it end of summer. We are just looking at the logistics. Either somebody should be willing to host, or we may book some mini auditorium, something like that. So in that Upanishad, Isavasya Upanishad, mantra 9, thousands of years back, he said it. He says, attachment to the spiritual path is greater than attachment to the world. Andham tama pravishanti ye vidyamupasate tato bhuya ivate tamo yau vidyaya rataha. He says attachment to the world will take you to darkness, which is, we don't need Upanishad to tell that to us. But if you are attached to spiritual path, if you are attached to spiritual practices, you will go into a greater darkness. The attachment to the religion, attachment to spiritual practices is deadly. It's not easy to overcome. And without spiritual practices, you cannot evolve. You're getting it? So who is a true sadhak? Who is a true seeker? Yogi. Yogi is deemed superior because he is objective in his spiritual practices. He does not get attached to the path. He understands it is means to an end. So therefore, he is superior to other seekers who are no doubt going in the right direction, in the right path, but they have a tendency to get attached to the path. So warning to all of us. Yes, it's must. Study reflection in our context is must. But don't get attached to it. The moment you get attached to it, your progress will stop. Use it as a means to end. So very useful parting advice he gives. And then verse number 47, the final guideline he gives to all of us.
Question?
Yeah.
I'm preaching at them.
योगिनामपि सर्वेषां मद्गतेनान्तरात्मना श्रद्धावान् भजते यो मां समे युक्ततमो मतः योगिनामपि सर्वेषां मद्गतेनान्तरात्मना श्रद्धावान् भजते यो मां समे युक्ततमो मतः.
And of all yogis, he who with the inner self absorbed in me meaning supreme reality, worships me with Shraddha, faith, he is considered by me to be wholly united. Such a seeker merges with the supreme reality, becomes supreme reality. So in verse 46, what did he say? That you are putting efforts, no doubt. You are going in the right direction. There is no doubt about that also. But that is not enough. What additional quality you need is Shraddha. Shraddha is that capacity to put concerted effort till you achieve your goal. You continue to put efforts till it brings about a transformation in your personality. You don't rest content till then. It starts with faith. Shraddha is defined as faith. It's a very loose way to define. Definitely you need faith, you need surrender, you need devotion. So your spiritual journey begins with that, with faith. But once you acquire that faith, once you gain that faith, and if you do not put efforts, you will not go anywhere. A lot of people, they have faith, genuinely they are devoted, they have surrendered, but they are not willing to put efforts. So only faith will not take you anywhere. It's only the beginning of the journey. So what is Shraddha? Shraddha is, it starts with faith. It continues with consistent, determined efforts, and it ends only when you achieve the goal which you have set for yourself. That is Shraddha. That only if you have Shraddha, it will unite you with the goal. Meaning you will achieve the goal. It is applicable relatively as well as absolutely. Absolute is you don't rest content till you hit the ultimate state. Go on putting efforts. No, I will not rest content till I get there. But somebody may say, no, I think it's too far-fetched for me at this moment. Why not? I mean, I will agree with in case somebody says that. So your main goal could be that. But to achieve that main goal, you need subsidiary goals, isn't it? So yes, you have that fixation, but to get there, you need to do something. Every unit is important to take you there. See, for example, you understand the importance of study. So therefore, you're attending this study class. So what is that Shraddha? So you're totally committed to this. That every Saturday or every Sunday, whatever is your target, no matter what happens, unless there is something emergency, I will not miss these classes. So that is Shraddha. Good many of you have that. I mean, how you take it to the next level? Your daily study and reflection. That could be your next goal. No matter what happens, I will not miss my study. That is that concerted efforts. Yes, I am already doing that. I get up in the morning, I reflect. Okay, put efforts to understand the concepts. I will not rest content till I get clarity. If something is not clear, I will clarify. I will rest content only when I have mastered a particular concept, that is Shraddha. Next could be, I want to study all the 12 books which we prescribe. So all these sub goals, secondary goals put together will take you to the ultimate goal. You need to have that Shraddha in all your efforts. A systematic effort is called as Shraddha. See, Robert Browning, he gives a beautiful definition of Shraddha. He directly is not defining Shraddha, but with this explanation, you understand what he's saying. Lakshmiji, would you like to read that? Your voice will do justice.
That low man seeks a little thing to do, sees it and does it. This high man, with a great thing to pursue, dies ere he know it. That low man goes on adding 1 to 1, his hundreds soon hit. This high man, aiming at 1,000,000, misses a unit. Robert Browning.
It's very simple. That low man seeks a little thing to do, sees it and does it. Yes, he has a fixation and he is consistent in his efforts. That is what it means. This high man, he has a faith, no doubt. But he has no Shraddha. He thinks high, he talks high, but since he is not willing to put efforts, he ends up achieving nothing. It is as simple as that. So you may have lofty goal, lofty ideal. I'm talking in the spiritual context. The word Shraddha is used in spiritual context. Though people use it loosely also, it's not wrong, but we use it in spiritual context. So you may have that faith, but that is not enough. It is not going to help you to evolve. It will not bring about a transformation in your personality. That is that high man is talking about. It's a quotation from Grammarian's Funeral by Robert Browning. He just talks, there is faith, but it is not backed by consistent, determined efforts. Therefore, he doesn't achieve anything. But a low man, meaning a seeker, a yogi, he has faith and every single day he's putting efforts. So he achieves his goal. So that quality you need to understand, Shraddha. All of you are sincere, all of you have faith, but how many of you have Shraddha? Is the question. If you don't have Shraddha, slightest excuse is enough to take you away from the spiritual path or a goal, whatever goal you have set, even the secondary goals. So what comes in your way? What comes in the way of Shraddha? What takes you away from Shraddha? You may have Shraddha. Good many of you have Shraddha, but again, there is an obstacle. What takes you away from your Shraddha? Meaning, why can't you be consistent? Why can't you maintain that consistency in your goal? What takes you away from Shraddha? Is my question.
Desires.
Desires is not wrong answer. It's a very general answer. It's not wrong.
You don't have the consistency.
You're not describing Shraddha now. I'm asking why there is no consistency.
You're not putting any effort.
Lot of distractions.
Excellent. Who said that?
Shan.
Yeah. So worldly distractions take you away from your Shraddha. Period. There's nothing else. I will say, good many of you have Shraddha. Why can't you maintain that Shraddha? It is broken because worldly attractions, they take you away. So no fault of yours. It's not easy. But you are mostly with the company who doesn't have the Shraddha. You are surrounded by people who don't have Shraddha. They are worldly, they are materialistic, they are sensual. We're not saying they are wrong, you're right. That's not the intention here. So how long can you not succumb? But there are, I know, I mean, here there are some extraordinary people who refuse to succumb. New Year, where to go? I'm not saying you should not go. Please don't take these examples literally. But all the time the talk is about go here, go there, pack this, goals, this and that. This is your company. I'm not saying they are wrong company. They may be good people. There's no doubt. They don't have that spiritual aspirations. They don't have that spiritual goal. So if you are surrounded by such company, this is the distraction. So though individually you may have that Shraddha, but these worldly distraction, that's what Shan is telling us. It takes you away from that Shraddha. So 46 tells us you have to put efforts, you have to go in the right direction, which everybody is doing. If that is not enough, you need Shraddha. We discussed what is Shraddha, but what takes you away from Shraddha is distractions, worldly distractions. If you plug all these loopholes, what is left is yogi, meaning a genuine, true, sincere seeker. That is all. So that concludes this chapter, Dhyana Yoga. So at the end of the chapter, there is a verse we usually chant. So I'm not going to chant that. I'm just going to read the translation. That's the tradition. So those who have the book, they can refer to it. Om Tat Sada. It starts. I'm just reading the English translation. Om, that is real. Om meaning supreme reality. That is the only reality. Everything else is unreal. Thus, in the Upanishads of the glorious Bhagavad Gita, the science of the eternal, the scripture of yoga, the dialogue between Sri Krishna and Arjuna ends the 6th chapter entitled Dhyana Yoga, the yoga of meditation. And tradition is we chant the first verse of the chapter to indicate that our study is not over. So we'll chant the first verse. Makaran, if you can play it, otherwise I will chant.
श्रीभगवानुवाच अनाश्रितः कर्मफलम् कार्यं कर्म करोति यः स सन्न्यासी च योगी च न निरग्निर्न चाक्रियः
So there is an announcement, Radha.
Today concludes the chapter 6 of the Bhagavad Gita, and we will take a 3-week break, and we will come back to the Gita class with chapter 7 on February 1st. The playlist of this Gita chapter 6 has been sent to you with the Zoom link. So all the videos are available, so you can go through that. And if you have any questions, please send it to the study class email, and Amiji will answer them after we are back.
Thank you. So I will see you tomorrow, those who attend Holocaust of attachment. Otherwise, February 1st.
Hariom.
Thank you
Good day. All of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amiji.
Thank you, Amiji.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Amit.
Thank you.
Oops. She's not here tonight. How come? What happened? She's sleeping?
Yes,